as we have a little talk with you, try and explain a little bit about this old river. If you want to follow the guide in a different language, there is a QR code on your maps, and there's also a QR code downstairs that will give you access to many different languages apart from mine. So hopefully some of you understand me. So if you look up on the right here, you've just heard the most famous bell in the world has the nickname Big Ben, and it only strikes on the hour. But what you're looking at, that's after they renamed it the Elizabeth Tower. If you look at the tower, you can see it does lean slightly to the right. Nothing to do with the present government, of course. They can't get anything right. But if you look up there, you can see the Union flag flying. When I started work on this river, the flag was only flying when your government were working. Now it flies 24 hours a day, because they're always thinking about us. On the right here, Westminster Bridge, which is the only bridge on our river to have 7 arches. And if you look at the tide racing through there, you can see how it destroyed the original wooden bridge. The bridge you're looking at on the right opened in 1864. So on your right, this lovely old building known as the County Hall. This is where we used to run Greater London from. Now it's hotels, apartments, and if you look on the lower walkway, these are the riverside attractions, the dungeons, the aquarium, and Shrek's Adventureland, the new home of Boris Johnson. Now on the right is the London Eye. They're quite busy there today, which is unusual, I must admit. When it opened in 2000, they were charging you £7.50 for a 30-minute ride. Last year, it was £35, and this year it's gone up again. Now, have you got any romantics on board? On Valentine's night, you could have a whiz round the eye for half an hour for £100. You got 2 boxes of chocolate and a dodgy glass of champagne. Over to your left, we have what was officially known as the Palace of Somerset. Now, everyone in London calls this Somerset House. 1976, this is where we kept the records of births, marriages and deaths. But now it's full of students from around the world. King's College is basically to do with fashion and design. On the right here, the first building, our national, well, it used to be the television centre. This has now been bought by a Chinese property developer, and he's turning it into something we really need. More luxury hotels and private apartments. Now, if you like to look downriver in front of you, look at the city skyline. When I started work on the river, the tallest building in London was called St Paul's Cathedral at 365 feet. But look down there today, the very tall silver building right in the middle, that's the Horizon Tower, and at the top of it is London's newest free viewing gallery. On your left here, look on the wall, you'll see the silver dragons. They're guarding the City of London. You've just entered what we call the Square Mile, the ancient city. From the trees on the left, the inner and the middle temple, the home of the legal profession of this country, the Inns of Court. But over here on the right, 1932, the top floor is a restaurant, the middle is apartments and some nice shops at the bottom. The building belongs to the Prince of Wales. That's Blackfriars Tower. If you want an apartment in there, they start at £800,000. They sold the penthouse for 32 million. It now belongs to a very nice Russian gentleman who can't live here at the moment. On your left here, the white building with the green roof is the old City of London School, now the headquarters of JP Morgan. And the last building, the headquarters of a multinational company, they're called Unilever, Lever Brothers. So we've got 3 bridges now. Blackfriars Road Bridge is under major restoration at the moment. As you can see, looking a bit, it is now Tate modern. And if you're one of the 5% of this country who understand modern art, it's a wonderful place to go. If you're like the rest of us, start your tour in the pub on the right. An hour in there, you'll understand what you're looking at in the Tate. Now up here on the left, there's the real work of art, a building that took 35 years to complete. St Paul's Cathedral. Look on top of the dome, see the people up there? The Great Fire. Now, this little village was known as Bankside, and it became the entertainment centre of London. We had bear baiting, cockfighting, circuses, taverns, and houses of horizontal pleasure. In front of you, Southwark Bridge, the least used bridge in London, because no one can find it. But look to the right of the bridge, look at the Shard, tallest building in Europe. Look at the top right hand corner, that's the viewing gallery. Look how empty it is. Now the reason it's empty is because it costs over £35 each to go up there. So go up the towers on the left and they're free of charge. So as we go underneath Southwark, there's lots of art. Now this replica is 50 years old and it's already been round the world twice. They're getting her ready for a final voyage around the world. Now where you hear the bells, that's Southwark Cathedral, and that's also where you find a place we call the Borough Market. A lovely place to go if you like eating and drinking. But look above us on the left, there's the monuments to money. The building with the curved top, that's the walkie-talkie. Behind it we have the scalpel, the gherkin, the cheese grater, and the salt and pepper pots on the top. If you can hear the bells, St Magnus, and if you look behind St Magnus Church in the left corner, you'll see the tallest candle in the world. The monument commemorates the Great Fire of London. But look above us on the left, look at the walkie-talkie tower, and look how many people are up there on the top floor. The reason it's busy is the building on the left, it was the oldest fish market in England, known as Billingsgate, and that lower level now, that's an exhibition all about ballooning. So if you want to go on a balloon ride anywhere in the world, you can book it up over there. The trees, this is called Custom House, and this is the main customs office of this country. But on the right here, every building you can see between these bridges, this area is now renamed London Bridge City, and it all belongs to the Qatari royal family. Now that's the family who wanted to buy Man United Football Club until they saw them play for Sunday afternoon league. Now the warship on the right is the Belfast, been here 50 years as a museum. There are 9 decks, so from the engine room to the radar scanner. One of the first British ships equipped with radar, helping her to sight and sink the battleship Scharnhorst. Now she's open every day, lovely place to take the kids during the half-term break. You can lose them on there for a couple of hours. On the convoys to Russia, the Normandy landings and the flagship during the Korean War. But over there on your left we have the tower. That's 1,000 years of English history. Look above the trees, you see the 4 turrets. That's the White Tower, the oldest part. Look at each corner, it's got a different design. Now behind the flagpole is a large circular turret, and that's where we had the original observatory for London before we moved it in the countryside down to Greenwich. Palace, fortress, prison, zoo, a royal mint and a place of execution. So look along the river wall over there, you'll see the words, entry to the Traitor's Gate. Now we used to know that as the first one-way street in London. because when you went in, you never ever came out. So in front of us is the last bridge of London, the Tower Bridge. This bridge opened 1894. Now if you look at the top of the bridge, you will see the city badge. So that means you are now going to leave the city. So on our little journey this morning, you've broken a record of your own in London. You've just beaten all the traffic through central London today. Now if you look at the lower sections, they raise up to let ships come into London. But of course when they were raised up, we still walked over the top until they were glassed in. But if you look up there today, look under the city badge, and you will see we've installed glass pavements. So when we go under, give them a nice big smile and a wave, because there's someone up there waiting to take your picture. So if you're here with someone you shouldn't be with, please don't look up. Look down the river there in front of. But if you want an apartment in Butler's Wharf, you're looking at over £1 million a go. And for £1 million, you get to live over the top of a pub and a restaurant. Lovely place to live. This land on the right, all the buildings you can see belong to one man. He's called Terence Conrad. He used to own little corner shops called Habitat and Mother Care. But of course, look each side of us now. This is the new way to live in London. If you can't afford an apartment, which most of us can't in London, then you buy yourself a Dutch barge or a canal barge. So look each side of us now, you'll see people's new floating homes. The only problem you have now, if you bring one of these barges into London, you have to prove you've got your own mooring. Now moorings round here, they start at £30,000 a year. Now when they sell their boats, they sell it with the mooring, and that doubles the price of the boat. Upriver, you can pay £1 million for a floating barge. It's all right until they sink. But look along the left there, you've got them glass monsters. And if you look ahead, that last one, it's got round penthouses on the top. Now the little penthouse on the top, that's the master bedroom. The level underneath it, with its own running track round the outside, that's the front room. Now 15 years ago, that apartment sold for £7.5 million. It's now up for sale for offers of over 12 million. Which isn't bad for a bit of glass, really. And then we leave you for 36 hours. If you survive, then you're innocent. Now, Judge Jeffries, who sentenced you, he'd be sitting over here on the right, on the balcony of the Old Angel pub. He would sit there having a pint of beer, watching you drowning on the other side. Well, you must remember they didn't have Sky years ago. Now look at the next building on the right, the Leaning Tower of Rotherhithe. That was sold at an auction just before Christmas for £1.5 million. It's only been bought as an investment, no one lives in it. Now, on the left here, we've got another pub. They're the ones who missed the boat. Pilgrims Park was dedicated to the men who built the Mayflower. They all came from this part of London, even the captain, old Christopher Jones. So if you look around, folks, you can see for yourselves just how deserted London's riverside is. Now at the moment, down at Woolwich, if we didn't, London this week would have flooded. On average, our tides are 7 metres twice a day. But during this week, they would have been well over 8 metres in height. Now the little pub on the left there, that's the oldest pub on the river, and that's the Prospect of Whitby. And it opened in 1520, when Henry VIII was on the throne of England. Frequented by pirates, smugglers, because when he built it, there was 1 million people in London. Now there's over 10 million. So at the moment, what happens if the sewers flood, they pump the sewage into the river. But what they're building are massive drains, So the sewage will go down the drain and into the longest tunnel we've ever built under the river. It's called the Tideway Tunnel. It will be actually launched officially next month, and it's 15 miles long. Starts at Putney and ends up Now this old building loading ships. And look at them buildings on the left today. They're all private apartments, and all their extensions are made of glass, so they don't upset the next door neighbour. Now on your left there's a red building there with all the lights on. One of Gordon Ramsay's overpriced restaurants, that is. If you look in the background, that blue building, you see the little church? There's a man on the roof there. Now that is where we start the canals of England. So that's Regent's Canal. If we went in there now with a little boat, that would take us to a place called Little Venice, Camden in North London. Little Venice, you join the Grand Union Canal, then you can travel all the way up to Manchester. Now imagine that, 200 years ago, they built a canal by hand from London to Manchester. Today, we can't even build a railway system. So Limehouse is on the left, which used to be known as Chinatown. But this Chinatown is where we had the opium and the gambling dens. Look over there now, there's another pub with the white lights. That's the Grapes, where Charles Dickens wrote his novel, Our Mutual Friend. And the man who owns that pub lives in a house in the middle. That's his yellow suit hanging up outside. The reason he's not wearing it, that's him on the grey post standing there naked. And that's the home of Sir Ian McKellen, the famous actor. He bought the pub with his neighbours, otherwise it would now be another private residence. So look in front of us folks, this massive development, this was being built as the financial heart of Europe. That was until we decided to leave. So look up there today, the building with the pyramid on the top, where they built that tower is where we unloaded the goods from the Canary Islands. That's why it's called Canary Wharf. If you look in the background on the left, that large brick building with a bell and a clock tower, well that started its life.